Welcome to Daily Armour. Today I'm going to be in John 3:16. I know it's a very familiar verse. I'll say that as a child I did not get to go to church a ton. It wasn't anything that was consistent. There would be seasons of consistency, little small snippets of consistency, very, very, very small snippets of it. But this is one of those verses that after I was an adult and able to go on my own, that I still remembered. So don't discount what young people get from the house of God when they're there. There are things that are going to forever stick with them, no matter how they get distracted or what goes on. John 3:16 was one of those that just has always stood out to me. It's kind of like the hymn, Just As I Am. That is forever something that seemed to be, that I heard quite often as when those moments when I did get to go to church. That was, one of those hymns that I just remember from a child, and a child that was not raised in church exactly. Got to go some, but not really would consider myself being raised in church. Very blessed by what I was exposed to, and I soaked it up those times that I was there. I mean, literally like a sponge, just soaking it up. So I want to ponder for a while, I don't know how long, on God's promises. Kind of need to kind of clear out some clutter in my mind, and help with some anxiety, help with some focus, keeping focused on Him, not focused on all the other noise and situations and the storms. And so I want to start back at the basics, and I want to say that some of God's promises are conditional and some of God's promises are unconditional. And I actually grabbed a book out of the pastor's office, and it's a book of promises. And as I was started at the beginning, and it's by topic, I noticed that a lot of the things that are listed were not really necessarily what I would consider promises. Some of them were just statements. Some of them were just saying, don't do this, and, do this and don't do this. And I'm like, no, we need to hear, what's the promise? I want to get rid of all the clutter. I know things that I need to change and do and still correct and still have, room for improvement. I know all those things. You know all those things about yourself. You know what issues you have. And we need to take them to the Lord. Of course, we need to take them to the Lord. But I want to get back to the basics of what do I have that I can stand on. Because some days are hard and difficult, and we get thrown a curve, and we need to get rid of all the clutter and all of the yipping in our ears, and only hear His promises, what He says. What does God say? And I'll say that I think John 3:16 is a wonderful place to begin. It is a conditional promise. This promise that we have in John 3:16, it is very conditional. The conditions have to be lined up with the Lord for this to take place. But let's get back to the basics. So John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. What's the promise? The promise is He promises us everlasting life. What's the condition? This one is a conditional promise. What is the condition? The condition is that we have to believe in Jesus. We have to put our faith and trust in that Jesus is how we are going to heaven. It is where I place my trust. So when you start with the beginning, we have to think about this. There was a sacrifice that had to be made. And God is, and this is red letter. If you're, read it. I know we know it, but it's something about looking at the words on the page, and then the red letter, and visualizing this is Jesus Himself saying, God gave me to the world. He gave me up to the world. He gave me over. He delivered Him. He's delivering Him to the world. to be the sacrifice. What a gift and what a sacrifice on the part of Jesus, who is the sacrifice, on the part of God, who gave the sacrifice. If you've ever given a gift, and you've taken the time to spend your money, or, maybe you made something, maybe however that you gave this gift to somebody, it was a sacrifice on your part. For you or I to say, okay, this is what I have to work with, but I'm not going to keep it all for myself. I want to share it. When you're sharing yourself, you're giving a piece of yourself away. When you're vulnerable, when you're talking with friends, and you share something. A friend shared something with me yesterday that was private and personal, and it was a praise to the Lord. And then I was able to immediately share with her a praise that she was actually, part of, but that God answered my prayer through her. And my prayer wasn't that I knew what to pray. My prayer was like, Lord, what am I going to do? And then through her, the Lord had already taken care of it. And what I thought was going to be a really difficult situation, the Lord handled it. And he was already there. And that was amazing. But when we get back to that, God gave, he loved us so much. The world, that means everybody. That's all inclusive. This is not leaving anybody out. For God so loved the world that he gave. He sacrificed and gave his son. He sacrificed and sent Jesus, not just to send him to this world, not just that separation, but to give him over to see, to watch and to know and to see and to experience the anguish, the torture, the torment, the pain, the suffering, all of that was required to be the sacrifice. And God gave him to us. And so on our part, we can't add to that. We can't take away any of that. It's not, well, I believe on Jesus 50%. We had a guest preacher yesterday at church, and he used this this person that he had been witnessing to, preaching to, and the man said that he was 25% Christian and 50% Buddhist, and 25% he was going to give his devotion to all the other religions. So he was one of those, he didn't have full confidence in anything. He was trying to place his trust, he was scattering it around. He was like, well, just in case. No. If we're believing in him, it's 100%. We have to, 150, 200%. We have to give it all to him. It's not, well, I believe in Jesus and I'm a church member. I believe in Jesus and I got sprinkled or baptized, or I did this or I did that, or I'm a tither, or I'm given to all kinds of charities. It's not Jesus plus anything, but it's all him. That's that believing. We are committing all our eggs in one basket. Everything. I am committing. I am trusting fully in Jesus to that he is my way. That he is the way and he is my way. I have done that. I did that 24 years ago. I had already tried being faithful to the house of the Lord, doing good, signing up for everything, being a church member. I got baptized before I got saved. I did all these things, and I still felt empty. I still felt uneasy. I still was nervous when my pastor, my preacher at the time, Preacher Lockie, would say, "Is your name written in that Lamb's Book of Life?" With such authority and with such, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it would pierce me, and it would make me so nervous. And now it doesn't make me nervous because I know my name is there, and it's not because I'm 50% believer in Jesus and a 50% believer in something else, or a 50 here and a 25 there and a 25 here. It's not that. I put everything, all of my eggs in one basket. I completely, that night that the Lord showed me that I needed him, and that I believed a lot of things about him in my head, but I needed to know him. I needed to put my trust, all of my eggs in one basket. I needed to put it all in him, on him, toward him, completely be committed that there is no way and there is nothing else that is needed, but completely putting my faith and trust in my soul, in my security, in my name being in that Lamb's Book of Life, was completely committed that it's Jesus, that it was through him, by him, because of him. All of it's about him. And when I did that, because this is for the whosoever believeth in him. So this is available to anybody and everybody. This is available. And I have done that. I have placed and committed and put all of my eggs, all of my everything is in Jesus. And what's the promise? That I should not perish. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to be destroyed. I'm not going to be eternally separated. I'm not going to be abolished. I'm not going to be thrown out. I mean, if you've ever felt that, if anybody's ever treated you like that, like you're the redheaded stepchild, or however, that you have been made to feel, and that you don't belong even in your own family. If you've ever felt that you don't even belong in your own family, that you don't even belong in your own skin, if you don't even belong in, anywhere, you don't feel like you belong anywhere, then you feel like you've been thrown out, you've been cast out. But if my faith and trust is in Jesus, if you put your faith and trust in Jesus, he's saying that'll never happen. That's never going to happen. I mean, somebody can try to make me feel that way. Somebody, I could even maybe kind of do that to myself sometimes and feel like that, that I don't belong. But then I'm always reminded of his promise. That's why I need it. That's why I need to look at all these promises, because these, I feel like I'm going to be destroyed sometimes. Things happen and I feel like this is destroying me. And he's like, oh no, I've promised you that you cannot be destroyed. You're not going to perish. You cannot die. You cannot be destroyed. You cannot be abolished. But the promise is you have everlasting life. You're going to live forever. Everlasting life, eternal, forever. Forever. And that's my promise that he has given to me, because I have believed in him, because I have just committed to Jesus, that I can't get to heaven any other way. I can't have life any other way. And then he says, but because I have, then I have everlasting life, vitality, animate, to be animated. It's animated. It's fullness of life and genuine life. I loved those definitions when I looked up life, vitality, fullness. And I've never experienced the fullness. Before I was always missing something. But the night that I got saved, man, it was like, oh, now I feel complete. Now I feel complete. Now I feel part. Now I feel included, because I am. And I'm going to feel that way, and it's going to be that way forever. Forever. I'm not missing out on anything. But destruction, abandonment, that's what I'm missing out on. I missed out on all those things because I committed my life, my heart, my whole self, as much as I know how to do any of that, all on Jesus, all on him. And I have that promise that I have everlasting life. I'm not going to ever die. I'm not ever going to be separated from him. And in him is where the true life that's where it's all at. That's where it's all at. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon.